So, I know this is an awkward way to start a video, but do you want to do a sing along with me? It'll be fun, I promise, okay? When I point the mic to you, you sing the lyric, okay? We got it? Let's go. Who said you not? Who said you not? Who said you're the only one that trust me? That's the price of who said you not? Who said you not beautiful? Who said? Okay. Got a voice on you. I like you. Thank you for doing that with me. Sorry, had to switch on my mic, y'all. I said, "Who's not perfect?" My mic said, "You." Hi, my name is Kodawat, and today I want to tell you a story. Hi, welcome to the series where I rant about whatever is on my mind today because I have a big mouth and also because I yap a lot with no particular end goal other than to start conversation. And this rant session is actually going to be a little bit different. I'm going to label it a rant, but I wouldn't consider it as such. I would say it's more of a story time slash life advice slash big sister talk, if you will. I guess you can label that a rant, just talking, but you know, I have thoughts and I want to share something with you guys because it's important to me and I want to give advice as somebody who probably needed this back when I was dealing with this issue I'm about to talk about, which is self-confidence. So yeah, stay tuned for the story. I'm assuming everybody knows it's the new year. It's January. It's 2025. Can you believe it? It's crazy. I know. But typically around New Year's, everybody sets some type of goal for themselves. You know, it's the new year. You want to either get active, be healthier, ask that one boy out that you've been meaning to ask out, or ask that one they out that you've been meaning to ask out, or just develop a new habit and hopefully maintain it throughout the year so you feel like you've accomplished something, right? And what's ironic is January 1st actually marks the day, the four the 4-year anniversary, if you will, of me actually giving up face filters completely. So those Snapchat filters that you, oh my gosh, Snapchat, and mentioning that is even ancient. It's crazy, but those Snapchat filters that you may use in your photos, those Facetune photos, everything under the sun that you can think of to like edit your face in some way, post a picture on Instagram or your Facebook or whatever social media platform you use or whatever, using all those things to kind of edit how you look. It's my anniversary of not using that. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hold on, girl. You're so gorgeous. Why would you even need a face filter in the first place? Like, you never needed that in the first place. I'm joking. I'm joking when I say that. I'm gassing. I'm making humor of this. Okay, not to get deep, but this is deep. There was a point in time where I did not think so. I thought I needed it. I needed that face filter. Otherwise, you're gonna see this. Okay, you're gonna see this face, and this is the reason why I'm actually doing this video natural. I very much intentionally did this video natural because I want to be at least the most authentic when I talk about this. But at the time, I thought, oh my dog, I can't not have that face filter on. I won't look good. I won't look pretty because I didn't think I was pretty at all. And I'm gonna tell you where this stems from. For some people, beauty and your deterioration of it or you starting to care how you look typically starts when you get older, like when you're in your teens, right? Or you're transitioning into your teens, right? Your adolescence. You start to kind of question how you look or care a little bit more about how people perceive you in life, right? All right. If you haven't experienced that, you're lying. Okay. We've all experienced it. Don't sit there and lie. You're not special. You're not special. But I in my adolescence, yeah, in my adolescence, I really started to gauge how people felt about me and started to care about how I looked when I entered middle school and grade schools, right? Like growing up, I'd never really cared about that kind of thing. I was just this girl who had this big mouth and liked to yap and just liked what she did and did what she liked and didn't really care about what I looked like when saying what I did or anything like that. I wouldn't say I was bubbly. Like I've always been typically a quiet kid, but I would say I was bubbly. I was a bubbly, quiet kid. I was bubbly around the people that I knew, right? But as I got older, I started to recognize the way that I looked, and I wasn't happy, or it didn't occur to me that other people knew what I looked like, right? And it didn't occur to me that eventually those people's perception of me would ultimately affect how I would feel about myself and my looks. So, mini story number one. I will tell you the exact moment that I started to feel the effects of realizing I am in the presence of other people and they can see what I look like. I was in middle school. I had a pink 3DS, like most people at the time. I would assume. I'm assuming here. I'm sorry if you didn't, but I had a pink 3DS, and on that pink 3DS, I had Animal Crossing New Leaf. Right, great game. Love it to death. It's one of my favorite games. Best installment in the freaking series. Argue with your mother about that, but yeah. So I had this pink DS. And in Animal Crossing New Leaf, there was this special feature where you could go onto islands and talk to people, right? You can talk to anybody across the world. It was crazy. You can talk to somebody from Japan. You can talk to somebody from Spain. You can talk to somebody from any country you can think of. For real, for real. I don't know why those two popped in my brain. I would talk to people on there all the time. In my introduction video, I said that I made content surrounding those videos. That's how I started in middle school. But you could talk to different people in there, and I became friends with somebody. And it was a dude. It was a guy. And I remember exchanging friend codes and everything, and I thought they were pretty cool. And I remember getting on. We also had during that time we had Pokemon X and Y. It had just gotten released. Ooh. So I played Pokemon, right? I had that game. I had X, and I remember there was this feature where you could go online and you could actually show pictures of yourself. Just crazy. I don't think you should have been able to do that, Loki, but you were able to. I remember exchanging photos with this dude of what we looked like because we were the same age, right? And I remember it was a very like you had your little uh Pokemon trainer icon, and then you could replace that with when you clicked on that character, you could see yourself. And I remember the dude asked me to do this, right? He was like, let's just exchange pictures of each other and stuff like that, and rate each other. And I was like, oh, okay, that seems like it's whatever, you know. I didn't think too much of it, right? We put pictures up, and I'm thinking, it's not gonna matter or whatever. Like, I don't know. I didn't really quantify my beauty or what I looked like. Really, I never quantified that at all. That was never a thought in my mind until somebody put it there. So I put this picture up, and they put their picture up, and I'm just like, I give them a 9 out of 10. I'm like, you're pretty cute or whatever. Like, we're middle school kids. Like, I don't know. I see they're cute. And they look like a scrawny little kid. Like, you're supposed to look at that age, You're supposed to look like scrawny, and you're supposed to look like a kid, okay? And I remember giving them that 9 out of 10 thinking, oh, that means, like, they're pretty good looking. Like, I don't know. At the time, I could have given them a 10 out of 10. I didn't know because I didn't care about that. I never placed value on those kinds of things. And to my surprise, I don't remember what the score was, but the dude sent me a rating, and it was lower than his. It was less than ideal. And I don't know what it was about looking at that number. I remember there was a comment that you could leave. You could leave like comments of like what people what you wanted to say, like your friends and everything, or even people like around the world. Like it was crazy. But I remember you could leave comments, and that's where they put my score. And that's where I put their score. And I don't know why looking at that number was like daunting to me. It was like my heart did like not a 360, but something changed. Something changed in my brain as soon as I saw that number, and I was like, am I not good looking? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. And if I can find it, I will put a picture up of what the picture looked like. Now, I think. Hopefully I can find it. But if I can't, I'll give an image that is closer to it. But if I'm to describe it, it was me posing like this, in a bow, with a bow on the side of my head like this, with this exact part, and I put some like lip gloss on, like I have right now. I put some lip gloss on, and I was just like, it was so awkward. It was such an awkward photo, but that's how it is at the time. You know, you're a kid. You don't know no better. Like, it's whatever. But seeing that number stayed with me, and it stayed with me since I was a kid. I was, if I had to guesstimate, sixth grade ages usually range from 11 to 12. I was 11. I believe I was 11 when that happened. And that has stuck with me since to this day. And I'm 22. People won't remember like your speech or whatever, like what you say. People won't sometimes remember exactly what you say, but you'll remember how they feel. They will 100% remember how they feel. And that is something I will carry with me. And I have carried with me. I didn't feel good about it. And they made like another comment under it. They're like, "Oh, you're okay." I'm okay. I gave this kid at the time a benefit of the doubt, you know? And it stuck with me. And I know people like to say that, oh, like you're not able to, like, granted, there's people who are not able to move on with the things that people say to them and then end up becoming everything they sought to destroy. That is one thing. All right. I know people like to undermine sometimes that, oh, kids are just kids. Kids say stupid things. We were kids. I can't remember the last time. I can't. It was so long ago and stuff like that. And they do it. I don't think people do it sometimes out of maliciousness, but I know some people do. And they do it so it kind of distances themselves from taking responsibility of how they made another person feel during that time. It also kind of, like, diminishes the person's validity. Like, oh, you're still holding on to that? Oh, that's so crazy. Like, you know, and I hope me telling the story doesn't come off that way and stuff like that. I truly don't. Like, I've healed. I'm a healed person. That's the reason I'm making this, right? Uh, but I don't like when people do that because it promotes this idea that that's what you're supposed to experience in your adolescence. You're supposed to experience some type of thing that, like, affects you for the rest of your life and how you view yourself as a person. And I think it irritates me when people dumb it down to just kids being kids, or I didn't know any better, or something like that. Because at the end of the day, two things can be true at once, right? There's nuance in this world. Yes, you may not have known. You may not have known. You didn't know how that was going to affect somebody, but it's still there. The hurt's still there, and the person still went through issues because of this thing, right? And that's something that person's allowed to never forget. And I think that person is, one, should go forth in the world trying to be better than however that person made them feel, right? Treat those how you want to be treated. But I don't think you're required to forgive, bro. If it truly hurt you that bad, if anything, maybe forgive yourself. Maybe forgive yourself, and then you don't have to. I'm not saying let the vengeance boil inside, but I'm saying you don't have to outright forgive if it just happened or something like that. You don't have to. I say move on, heal, move on, do some self development and stuff like that. Whatever, but you don't owe that person oh, I'm sorry I brought it up, or if you tell them how that thing made you feel, you don't owe them that, like, satisfaction of making them feel better. I don't think that anybody's owed that. Sometimes we hurt people in this world and we don't owe them uh forgiveness, and that's just how it is. And some people, the thing about forgiving is it's not for the person, okay, whatchamacallit. It's not for the person that affected you. It's for yourself mainly, okay? Sounds like a selfish thing, but whatever. I think in this case it's warranted. It's mainly for yourself, right? Um, you want to forgive yourself. And I hate that people dumb it down to that. I really do. Just making it seem like kids are just being kids and then therefore can't take responsibility for their actions maybe later on in life, or if somebody brings it up, becomes this, I've become a better person, I'm not like the person in it. And it's like, sometimes you have to live with the fact that that person will never forgive you, and part of the forgiveness is accepting that. Part of somebody forgiving is accepting that, like, being remorseful for something is accepting that some people will not forgive you. That's just a part of accepting it. Um, so again, I hate it when people chalk things up to, oh, I was just a kid, I didn't know any better. Because ultimately, it may not have meant something to you, but it meant something to that person, and that person is going to carry that for the rest of their life. And that's what happened to me in this situation. So after that comment was made and stuff like that, everything's a little fuzzy, you know. I don't have the best memory, but I remember at that moment, I was like, I started to care how I looked. Even you can even argue before then with me putting the bow on the side of my head and wearing lip gloss and wanting to look the best. You could argue that I already cared about what I looked. But I remember that specific moment, I was like, damn, I'm not shit. Like, you know? And then eventually this dude ended up being like my middle school boyfriend and everything, like, you know. So that wasn't very good. But that's the only part of the story I want to tell about that. So I went on in life thinking that I wasn't very pretty. You know, I didn't think I was pretty. And I don't really remember at the time comparing myself to other girls and how they looked and everything like that. And thinking to myself, I don't look like that. Like, I don't remember that before that interaction, you know? And middle school is already like a really fucking cruel place. Let me get that straight. Like, it's a really cruel place, and I'm pretty sure it's cruel now. Maybe not worse, but still cruel. And gives you character development. I went through middle school a little bit confused about the way I looked, and I tried to change things about myself to and there's nothing wrong with wanting to change so long as you're doing it for you. For me, I was doing it with the sole whatchamacallit of trying to make myself feel pretty to others, right? I didn't still think I was pretty. I didn't think so. I wanted others to know I can be pretty. I'm worth it. I'm worth it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Like, you know, I wanted people to think I was shit. And you know, you notice how people treat you when you are pretty, you know? How girls get treated when they're pretty and everything like that. And it's like, oh, I don't have guys flocking to me. I was in middle school. What did I need dudes flocking to me for? That's weird. But it middle school and things like high school make it seem like these are big things to worry about. And because you feel so not I don't want to say isolated because that's a dark word, but because you're so confined in a space with all these people you've been growing up with maybe since elementary school, you have the tendency to think that there's no life outside of those places. So when you get outside and then you realize, holy crap, none of this matters, it's like I've been spending my whole life thinking I'm not something when I am. Or I could have felt better about like having this certain interest than what I felt in middle school. Like, I don't have to care about that. And then it puts you in for a doozy, and then you get things like stunted adults. Okay. So I would compare myself to other girls. And it was always to like, you start thinking about the beauty standard, and we know what the beauty standard is. I'm not going to list it here, but I'm going to put some pictures up. We know what the beauty standard is, okay? We know what the beauty standard is. And sometimes I would compare myself. I was like, oh, they're like, my hair's not, whatchamacallit, my hair's not straight. I need to straighten my hair. I need to relax my hair. It's like, I don't have pretty eyes. I was like, my eyes are dark pits. And that's what little boys would tell me in middle school. It was like all at once, all these insecurities kept building and building and building. This girl has nice teeth. I don't have nice teeth. Like, it's stupid stuff. Like, you know, things that don't matter in the grand scheme of things. I wouldn't have guys come up and be like, I want to date you or something. I don't know. All the dudes I was meeting was online, and some of them was probably grown men. Do not do that. Like, you know, that's where I felt like I found the most attention was online, which is not good. Please do not do that. I try to do makeup to make myself feel whatchamacallit, and things like that would get shut down very quickly. Okay? The things that I tried to do to make myself look pretty would get shut down so quick. My mom would do eyeliner on me when I had dance competitions sometimes. And I didn't like eyeliner. Ever since I was a kid, I didn't like it. But uh going middle school, you know, coming middle school, I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it. And I did. I'm gonna put pictures of them, but I did raccoon eyes. I did really full raccoon eyes. Obviously they weren't good, and I couldn't do a wing and stuff like that, like other like the things I would see online. Like I couldn't do a wing at the time, and I just I just wanted to feel pretty, you know? I wanted to feel like I was like aesthetic like these girls I was seeing like on Instagram and everything. Like, at this time it's like not 2016, but maybe like 2014, 2013 era. But I wanted to be that vibe. And I remember trying to do that on my Instagram and stuff like that. Like I just wanted to feel pretty and aesthetically pleasing, and like I was being very unrealistic with myself. I got into makeup and I remember going to school with those big raccoon eyes. And I remember my friend ma- later on I found out that my friend, first I thought was my best friend, like made fun of me for it. People always had something to say. And I never understood why, because I just wanted to feel pretty. Like I just spent so much time worrying about that. I really did. And middle school boys, unfortunately, sometimes have some toxic masculinity to them a little bit. They learn this from, and they're not to blame. It's the people that they're surrounded by and stuff like that. uh a lot of them expected you, at the time at least what I was experiencing, was you to look like an IG baddie. you know and I was not IG baddie. Okay, I was not. I had the boys that would be like, hey yo, my friend wants to date you. I'd have that, and we all know how that joke goes. It's funny because they don't. I used to get comments like that a lot. I didn't think my eyes were pretty. I didn't think any of this was pretty. Now I can look and say, "Ooh, I think she's pretty," but that was my mindset at the time. And I'm gonna throw some pictures up, maybe throughout this and stuff like that, of what I looked like at the time. Not to get personal, but these are the photos I'm comfortable sharing. I had a really hard time trying to, and at the time I was also having like an identity kind of issue. Like I was a weird kid. I was a weird kid, and I was into a lot of cringy stuff, as you can see, and I'm still into it. What? And now it's apparently cool. Okay. Back off. I did it first. Okay. But like, it's true. At the time I was people get bullied for this kind of stuff, and I hate how people undermine it and they're like, "Oh, get over it. Get over it." How can you, when you've spent a lifetime, or what feels like a lifetime, being bullied for being you? People are allowed to be bitter. I think people are allowed to be bitter, and I think people are allowed to unpack a lot of that. And I think we should listen. It sucked. It sucked not being able to look in the mirror and see myself and be like, "Ooh, she's cute," or "Ooh, she looks beautiful." And so I went through middle school thinking that I wasn't hot shit. And I went on to high school, and I still didn't think I was hot shit. And then I remember somebody telling me at the time I was using filters, obviously middle school, but then I got onto Snapchat and they were like, yo, look at the dog. The dog filter was really popular at the time, that. Hopefully I can put a picture of like dog ears when I see that so it doesn't look weird when I edit it. But I didn't like it at the time. I didn't like the dog filter, but then eventually I used it. And then another filter, and then another filter, and then another filter. And I thought, oh, I look cute in this. I look cute. And I'll put up the pictures. I look cute. And, I wasn't thinking too much about what that did for me, like mentally. Like, thinking that I needed that filter. I relied on it heavily because without it, I didn't look like those girls on Instagram. I didn't look like those people I saw on YouTube that was aesthetically pleasing. I didn't look like the people on Pinterest. Like, um, developed a codependency with it a lot. And I posted a bunch of pictures thinking I looked good. And then the one time I remember posting a picture, and obviously people would say, "Oh, you look something like," I think in high school things got better and people stopped making fun of me and people started maybe taking me a little bit more seriously when I used those filters and like, "Oh, she's so pretty." Like the heart eyes emojis, that's how you knew you won. If you got one heart eyes emoji, you knew you won. You won everything, bro. Like, so it felt good. It felt good. I started archiving the posts from middle school because those were cringeworthy. Like, I wasn't no, none of that anymore. Luckily I still did my makeup and everything like that. I never gave up makeup just because that one person made that comment about me. And I got better. I got way better. And I'll put pictures up. But I had a really bad codependency with those filters. And I remember one time I posted something thinking I was cute without the filter. I just looked like this. you know? And I had like a cute little t-shirt on. I'll probably put a picture up. That photo got 6 likes and no comments. And I thought I looked pretty. And I thought something was wrong with me. I was like, oh no. Oh, no one thought I was pretty. No one, like, like you start getting like the shivers from like freaking back in middle school. Like nobody thinks I'm pretty. And I was like, no, I need to use the filter again. So I used the filter again. I archived the photo that I didn't like. And I just used it and used it and used it. And during this time, high school I think was not a lot worse, but like I started to recognize like, people think I'm pretty okay now. But why do I still feel empty? Why do I still feel like I'm not pretty? I remember going on a Paris trip, and I was with my friends and everything, and every photo I took that did not have a filter over it, I was panicking. I took those photos in Paris, and I was like, I don't like the way I look in any of these. I remember my friend, shout out to her, she would take pictures of me. I remember she did it when I was in Madrid. I'll show the picture now. I did poses. I was posing awkwardly. Like I didn't know what to do. And I didn't think I looked pretty in any of them. I hated those photos so much. There was this one girl that was there, and it was, granted, she was decent to me. She was never mean to me or anything like that. She was pretty chill. She was pretty and everything. Like I envied that girl, bro. Like she was pretty. And I obviously was like, why don't I look like that? And granted, I'm comparing myself to somebody I could never be because I'm not. You get me? So, uh, I just like at her style and everything I thought was so cool. And like I was looking at the clothes my mom packed me, and oh my goodness, my mom was just doing what she thought would be nice for me and stuff like that. She packed me leggings, these like LuLaRoe leggings, these MLM leggings, and I was like thinking they were cool at the time, and then I wore them there, and I was like, I'm not fashionable. I'm not the fashion girly in Paris. I was 16, bro. Like, I was like, I'm not even fashionable anymore. What? This is crazy. Like, I take the pictures and I didn't feel good, and I remember saving my one nice outfit for. I just felt very insecure on the trip. And I remember seeing my very nice outfit for the day that we took like pictures in front of the Eiffel Tower, and I was posing and everything, thinking that they came out okay and all that. I looked bow-legged in those photos. I did not like the way they looked at all. I saw everyone else's photos, and obviously I saw the girls' photos and everything. And she was just so naturally pretty. Like she looked pretty in all of her photos. And everyone was like, "Oh, you look so good," and stuff like that. And here I am. And the only photos I liked were the ones that were far away, where I looked far away. I didn't like the ones where I was up close, because I'll put pictures up. I didn't look how I wanted to. I didn't look like someone like her. I didn't think I looked pretty. Fast forward, I COVID happened and everything during my senior year of high school. I get time off and everything. And I made my TikTok and all that. And I was getting better with makeup. I decided to practice makeup a lot during COVID, which I'll put pictures up. But I practiced my makeup a lot. I felt pretty. I still posted pictures on Instagram throughout this time, even though I was feeling very insecure, and didn't think I was pretty. But I was doing all that, and then 2021 came around. Uh, Again, practice all my makeup, still using filters and everything. And I'll put the picture up that started it all. But I came up with a New Year's resolution that I'm not going to use filters. And it's because of this photo. I did my makeup that day. Thought I looked pretty. I was learning how to use lashes and everything, and I thought I looked pretty. And I wasn't using a filter or anything. And I was like, oh, I look kind of cute and stuff like that. Like. So I was like, what if New Year's is the time for me to change something that I don't like? What if I quit using face filters for a year? And I don't know what in my brain said to do that, but I guess it was the fact that I saw myself and I was like, "Ooh, I look pretty," and it wasn't with something over top of my face. And I thought to myself, I was like, "Okay, let's do this. Let's see if I can do this for a year." And it was hard. It was in the beginning it was hard. The first day was good. Second day came around, I was like, "Oof, I don't know how the fuck to pose in photos." Like, I just didn't know how to pose at all. I realized not only am I not confident in the way I look, I'm not even confident in the way I take these photos. Like, I look awkward and like whatchamacallit. And I was like, I felt like giving up low key. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like giving up already. Like, I was really thinking about going to the filters again. And then I said to myself, no, I can't do this. I have to keep going. So that day, I would record this journey on TikTok, at least for the first few months that I did this. And I was like, no, I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to say, I'm going to be honest. Today was a hard day. I don't know how to pose and I don't really feel that pretty. I think one of my lashes I felt like wasn't put on right. I put on my lashes backwards, I think. Something. I just didn't know how to pose in photos. I just didn't like the way I looked. And I was like, okay, tomorrow's going to be better. And at least I was being honest. And people were very encouraging at the time. I was getting comments and stuff like that saying, I did it before, you won't go back. I promise you're going to hate it at the end. Like, um, you're going to hate filters and you're going to love the way you look. And I was like, okay, okay. So I kept going. I kept going. And I took the photo the next day. And this time I did no makeup because I thought that was important to not only appreciate, makeup. And I think makeup only enhances your beauty personally, right? But I also wanted to appreciate that I don't even need it to look good and stuff like that. I can just be how I am right now and be confident. So I did it. And I actually liked those photos better. Like, um, I felt good. It was a natural day and I felt good. I felt really good about it. And then I kept going and I kept going and day after day. And then eventually I made it into like monthly, like, updates and like weekly updates. And I felt so much better. And at the time, I was also, again, like, I was working on my makeup skills and everything like that, self-taught. And I learned a lot of what I did when I was, like, in color guard, like, marching band color guard. Because we had to do makeups for all of our shows and everything, so gotta thank that. Shout out to my color guard girlies, love y'all. Um, but that's how I ended up, like, doing a lot of my makeup and not giving that up. So, I was improving, and I went clothes shopping and did all a bunch of this other stuff, overconsumption core during freaking COVID and all that. But I was starting to find myself and what I wanted to look like. And it felt freeing to like what I liked, Hello Kitty, anime, video games, you name it. I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. Name a fandom, I'll know it, bro. Like, I could embrace that thing. I could embrace it at the time. And I think that's what I really liked about like TikTok back in like 2020, 2022. Like, you could just do whatever, wear whatever, and you could be confident with it. And I really enjoyed that. And it was like the year just flew by and I felt more beautiful and more like I just felt so much better about myself. And I could look at myself in the mirror and actually say, she's pretty. You're pretty today. Ooh, okay. Like, and it didn't matter if I had my makeup on and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I still joke and say I look like a bum, but like I genuinely don't feel like, even when recording this video, I genuinely don't feel like, I didn't feel like I don't feel like I'm ugly, like, And if somebody was to tell me that, I know now that I have the self confidence to be like, boo you, like, I don't have to take that comment. I can just block it and move on with my day. Like, it felt really good. And I remember a year passed, and then I made a video similar to this, like I'm making now on Instagram, and telling people about my whole experience. And I got a lot of support from my friends, my college friends, and even some people I knew in middle school. Like, I got a lot of like, kudos to you and stuff like that from, and it surprised me. It really did. So, that was really good. That was really good. And then it just my confidence kept growing and growing and growing. And now I'm at year 4 and I'm going to put up some pictures now and stuff like that of my journey. And now I'm in a point in my life where I am just thrilled to be me. I don't wish I was anybody else. I don't like go chasing like like looking at other people and be like, "Oh my gosh." Like, obviously you got those like average like, "Oh, they look so good, I look like a bum." Like, but it's not as intense as I used to experience at all when I was a kid. I'm happy with how I look. I'm content. No. And I think what makes me happy is I can be like, yeah, sure. I can't be like anybody else. I can't look like them. And I'm chasing like sitting here trying to chase being somebody else is so lame because, I'll never be them. But you know what's even more cool? They can never be me. Like, like you can't outdo the doer. You can't outdo you, bro. There's only one you in this life. Okay? You got to own you. You got to find you. And what's crazy and what's the unique part about you, a lot of people struggle to find like something that makes them stand out. Just existing makes you stand out. Literally. Just you being yourself makes you stand out from the rest. And that's something you need to be confident in. And that's something that is beautiful on its own. So, if you somehow made it to the end of my rant, I guess this was a rant, but I also want it to be kind of like a little bit of life advice and maybe me sharing my story, you can take something away from. If you didn't, that's completely fine. Maybe I'm just blowing off steam. Who knows? I will never tell. But um if it did in some way, if you made it to the end of this and you are somebody that is struggling to find self-confidence or just like thinking that you are pretty, or struggling with some aspect of yourself that you are not happy about. I want to offer, hopefully you listen to my story and you don't feel alone, because I felt that way for a very long time. And it was hard for me at that time because I hadn't no not to get emotional. I didn't really have a good support system. I didn't have a system, at least I felt like I could talk to about that kind of thing. I didn't. And I didn't want to be vulnerable and be like, "Mom, I think I'm ugly." Like, or like, "Papa, I think I'm ugly." Like, like I didn't want that. So, it was hard. It was hard. But I want you to know that you are absolutely not alone. If you can, I know it's hard. I know it's hard. Please go to a mirror. So at least once a day, or maybe just today after you watch this. And I want you to look at yourself. And I want you to say you're pretty. Please. I want you to say you're beautiful. Because unpopular opinion, some people may disagree, but I truly do not care. Um, Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Okay. All right. I think anybody can be beautiful. Honestly. Just because somebody's not beautiful to me doesn't mean they're not beautiful to the next person over. And I get irritated when people say things like, "Oh, like, not everybody can be pretty. Not logically, not everybody can be pretty," and da 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 da. Like, screw them, okay? Typically, when people say that, they're trying to humble somebody because they don't feel good about themselves. They never say it with the intention of being like, "Oh, I don't think everybody," like, they're not doing it with good intentions. They're not saying that with good intentions. All right. Typically, it's to make somebody feel bad because they want people to think that because they said that not everybody's beautiful, or like you're not beautiful or something like that, they want that to be the majority when it's not. It's just how they feel, right? Do I think everybody can be beautiful by my standards? No. But who's to say that my standards are the end all be all? You can be beautiful out here to somebody. So that's the kicker, right? That's the like, just because you don't find somebody attractive or whatchamacallit doesn't mean that they aren't. Everyone's beautiful to somebody, bro. And even if it may not be in the looks department, they have a beautiful voice. They have a beautiful smile. I guess that can be considered looks, but they have a beautiful brain. They're smart. They're talented. They're creative. And those things take you so much farther. So much farther. And it may not seem like it, but it takes you so much farther. Do you know how many celebrities marry each other based on looks and are like, "Damn, I didn't know you was the wife from hell. I didn't know you was the they from hell." Like, you know, because that's the only thing that they're thinking about. is how people look. People treat it's a known fact. People treat other people highly in society because they look a certain way. It's a fact we can't avoid. And it sucks. But I need you to know that there's more to life. And sometimes we don't be remembering that. Okay, there's more to life than just looks. But I'm here to tell you, you are beautiful. Okay? Even if I can't see you, you're pretty. Even if you're not pretty by my standards, you're pretty to somebody. And I need you to go holler it from the rooftops. Please. Thank you. Um, I want you to leave this video feeling a little bit better about yourself. I do, and I want you to know you're not alone. I want you to know that you're pretty. I want you to know that you're smart. I want you to know that you're worth something. And I want you to know that beauty and your worth in this world are not equated with each other. Because for a long time, I used to think that. I used to have that mental whatchamacallit in my brain telling me, ooh, pretty, worth. No, completely separate. No. But I digress. If you are in middle school and you're watching this, or you are in high school, or you probably shouldn't be watching my videos. I'm not gonna lie to you if you are in these categories, because I throw a cuss out here and there, and I don't think that's good for children. Okay. If you happen to be in middle school or high school watching this and you are struggling with some type of inner turmoil with yourself and your self-worth and thinking that you are not pretty, you are. You are. And you are supposed to look like a child right now. You're not even supposed to be concerned with that. You're supposed to be concerned about them A's and them B's and them C's. All right? You're worried about the wrong thing, okay? Because I can tell you, and it's not gonna say I sound so hypocritical saying this, because at the time I can vouch for it 100% because I was in that. Obviously, I was in that freaking era, but I used to think that middle school was gonna last forever. It felt like forever. It felt like forever, and I just wanted to run away and I wanted to get out. It felt like that with high school. I wanted to run away and I wanted to get out. I wanted to go buy a new name. Seriously. I wanted to just leave the country, start a new life. you know? All because of looks? That's insane. But I know it feels like it's never going to end. Maybe you're experiencing bullying, maybe you're not, maybe you just feel insecure about yourself. Maybe these are just natural insecurities that you've put onto yourself and then you hold yourself back. All right? I get it. I get it. It feels like it's never ending and it's relentless. But I'm going to tell you, everything comes to an end. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It may not happen in the next 24 hours, okay? It may not happen a week from now, it may not happen a month, it may not even happen a year from now. All right? But what I can tell you is it does not last. That pain that you're feeling and how everyone else is making you feel about yourself is not going to last. It never does. And I feel like I'm talking to my child self. When I'm talking to you, I'm talking to this little girl too. All right, this was me. I'm talking to her too. I'm trying to give you the advice that I really needed, the cheerleader that I needed. And if no one else is cheering you on, I'm cheering you on, bro. You're going to do amazing things in this world. And I don't want nobody telling you that you're not pretty. It's going to feel like it's going to last forever, but it never does. There is life beyond middle school. There is life beyond high school. And high school has a way of making you feel like you're just trapped and that everybody else's opinions are just, you're going to see that one girl that's bullied you and stuff like that, like for the rest of your life, or that one girl that thinks she's better than everybody, or that one dude that thinks he's like the top jock and whatever. You're going to have those people, and they're not going to last. They don't last a foot out of high school. Some people who peak, okay? And the best revenge I think you can get if they don't have their downfall and, like things get worse for you, but things are getting better for them, the best revenge you can ever have is moving on. Hopefully, when you're watching this, I understand it's hard to get through the next day. It always is. But I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and I want you to tell yourself that you're pretty, because you are. You are pretty, and you're going to get more confident as you take your journey to realize how worthy you are in this life, even besides looks. All right, that is going to end my rant or whatever. It's a lot longer than I expected it to be. Sorry. Might have to edit some things down. I pray this doesn't get to 50 minutes. That would be insane. Tell somebody you love them today, because tomorrow is not promised to us. Go tell them you love them. And my name is Kelwat. Thank you so much for listening to my self-confidence rant. And I will see you later in the next installment, which hopefully won't be depressing. I hope this didn't come off as depressing. It's more supposed to be a motivational speech. But anyways, my name's Codependency.